no matter what we end up with here in the Congress, I can assure you it will be complicated. And I think that that is unfortunate.
Hi Bernie, my name is Steve and I'm self-employed. As you might tell by my surroundings, I work at home. And I had a question about some of the health care reform packages. I spend a fortune on health insurance. I pay about $1,000 a month and I have a $3,000 deductible, so as a self-employed person it's killing me. I'd like to know what the health care reform would do to help the self-employed. Thanks a lot.
Steve, thanks very much for that excellent question. And I think you and millions of other people are asking the same question. What is in this legislation for me? And let me begin by saying that no matter what we end up with here in the Congress, I can assure you it will be complicated. And I think that that is unfortunate. My own strong preference has been from the very beginning that what would serve the American people best, what would be most cost effective as we move toward a universal comprehensive health care system is a single payer Medicare for all. And I like that idea not just because it's not complicated in an abstract sense, but because its simplicity ends up saving us hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars a year in administrative costs, in profiteering, and in waste of time and effort on the part of physicians and patients alike. But that is not what we're going to end up with. Although I should say we are going to fight for at least an option for states to go forward with a single payer system. But where we are right now is that in the health education bill that I was involved in, you would probably benefit significantly depending on your income. As a small independent business person, you would be put into an exchange where you have a choice of different providers, different companies, including a public option, which likely would be a lot less expensive than what you're looking at right now. In addition, depending upon your income, you would receive a federal subsidy. So that would depend upon how much money you or your family make a year. But the likelihood is, if you didn't make a whole lot of money, you would be in pretty good shape in terms of the legislation that at least came out of the Health Education Committee. Now, as we proceed with bills coming to the floor of the House and the Senate, let me just briefly mention some of the areas that we're concerned about. Number one, of course, is the issue of affordability. How much will the average American have to pay for health insurance after this bill is passed? The bill that came out of the Finance Committee chaired by Senator Baucus was not good in that respect. It was too expensive, and we're going to work as hard as we can to lower that amount of money. Number two, the issue of public option. What is it? How many people will be eligible for it? I mentioned that Steve would be eligible for it, but there are many people who would not. So what we want to do is A, have a strong national public option available in 50 states and seeing as many people as possible having that choice, which I think also will put pressure on the insurance companies to keep their rates lower than they otherwise would be. Third issue that we're beginning to tackle right now is how do you pay for the $800 billion to $1 trillion that are going to need it to provide the subsidies and other types of benefits in terms of increasing primary health care, in terms of disease prevention that we want to see in any final product. And that debate is going to be hot and heavy. What came out of the Finance Committee bill, for example, would essentially put a tax on good health insurance programs that workers in many cases have fought very hard to obtain. That is not acceptable to me. In the House, they're looking about raising money outside of healthcare, asking the wealthy to pay their fair share into the system. Makes more sense to me. But that issue has got to be dealt with as well. So we are going to see legislation come to the floor shortly. There's going to be a whole lot of debate about the nature of coverage and about how we pay for it. So Steve, thank you very much for asking a question I think is on the minds of millions of Americans.